Alright, today we're going to be looking at the new dog collar I got in for my Neapolitan Mastiff. I went with another Herm Sprenger collar. This one is one of the Neck Tech series, and it doesn't have the prongs, if you will. It's got just the straight links. All I wanted was a collar just for him to wear around every day. Went with stainless for a couple reasons. One, its resistance to corrosion, which in the area that I live in, always hot and humid, and if you're not having it on the dog constantly, I just don't want something that's going to get all rusty and nasty looking over time. I don't want the chrome chipping and peeling, because it seems like you could never get good chrome on anything anymore. Furthermore, I know it's a good collar that's going to stand up. I've had a prong collar in the past that has worked out really well for me. I do like also the fact that with going with something that's metal, I don't have a problem with something that's constantly going to get soaked with drool and be on the dog. Generally speaking, my dogs are always drooly and nasty, at least the last one that I had. This one's inspecting the tripod right now. But the dogs I've had in the past and now this one, just drooly, nasty, and disgusting. So I don't want something that's going to get wet and keep that moisture against the dog's fur or skin. So decided to go with the Neck Tech collar, as I said. We're going to go ahead and see what that looks like out of the box for the first time. Going to go ahead and compare it to the other Herm Sprenger collar I've got, which is the one that has the prongs. There are some noticeable differences even beside the prongs, but we'll get a look and see what we've got going on here. Alright, you can see on the left here I've got the new Neck Tech collar, and it obviously looks significantly smaller than the Herm Sprenger pinch collar that I've had on the right, and of course that's because my dog is very large, and so I've had to add many links into the collar since I've owned the dog. Actually, I had leftover links from my last Neapolitan Mastiff that I had, and I've had to add in all of those links, and actually I think that collar on the right is getting a little bit too tight right now even for the dog. Which is why up at the top there you can see that I bought 8 extra links for this Neck Tech collar. And if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and show you. I actually have this collar, I guess specially ordered for me, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter, by a company that actually imports their distributor for Herm Sprenger. And that's because I wanted to have the martingale style collar, but I didn't want the actual, I guess you'd call them the pinch type links, or the working links, I think is what they actually call them. So I just wanted this collar to be very basic, just a nice metal collar. I wanted to be able to remove it like this, and I didn't want the buckle collar. I wanted it to have the martingale style, so I had to have that special ordered on their actual order from Germany or whatever. I'll go ahead and post up the item number for this thing so you guys can try and hunt it down. Honestly, I did see where this was available from a seller on eBay. They were out of Great Britain though, and honestly I didn't want to mess with that. I wanted to go with somebody in the States if I could. That's what I did. I think the looks are kind of deceiving right now, because if you look, the pinch collar looks way larger, but again, the part of the dog's neck actually only contacts the inner portion here of the prongs. So when you think about it in that regard, it's not all that much smaller, but still a huge difference. If I'm not mistaken, the 8 links along with this right here should be enough, and I might be off on my math here, but I think when I did it, when I ordered it, that should be enough for a 33-inch collar, and obviously that's going to be well more than what I ever need with a Neapolitan Mastiff, and that's what I wanted. You can see that, again, this one has got the kind of the quick release deal here, so, well, I don't know exactly how quick that is, but you can just go ahead and unscrew it, take it apart there, and then the collar's off. That's a huge advantage. My wife obviously isn't quite as large as I am, and so for her, and really pretty much anybody else, to go ahead and take the link out like this and then put it back in can be a bit of a challenge. However, another aspect, if you're familiar with these prong collars at all, you'll know that you actually can, especially if you get, for whatever reason, you have somebody not very experienced walking your dog, if you get the leash wrapped around, you can get the leash to where it kind of sticks under the prongs, if you will, and the leash can actually pop the collar out. I distinctly recall one morning where my wife had to use the dog's wrinkles as a handle on the way back when we got our first Neapolitan Mastiff several years ago now. And it's because she accidentally, nobody's fault, but she accidentally let the leash get wrapped around the links there. And when she went to pull, as the dog went to run after a squirrel or something, young dog, it wanted to run, and she actually just popped the collar right off, and the dog was free to run wherever. So thankfully, there wasn't a car or anything like that involved, and we were okay. But that is one of the drawbacks of the prong collar, and you'll see, I think, Learburg and a few of the other sites, they actually sell, I think they call it like a dominant dog collar or something like that. It's a secondary collar that's like a slip-type collar that you put on in addition to the prong collar, just in case you ever have a situation where that happens. You do have the secondary collar in play there. If you look closely at the links here, you can see that these are all obviously linked together, and this is not a design which allows for toolless changing. They are designed to where they will not come out at all without a pair of needle nose pliers to bend one of these links away and then slip them in and then bend it back together. So obviously not a design that's meant to be taken apart and put back together routinely in that manner to have links added or subtracted, because obviously metal being metal, it'll fatigue over time and you'll at least need to replace the link that happens to. So in the video I'm going to go ahead and try to put the links to the place I got this. Also, I'm going to put up part numbers for this, because just this collar in general was very difficult to find. It honestly took me several hours to go ahead and track down a place that could even get it for me in the United States. I'll go ahead and put a link up to the actual replacement links. And before the end of the video here, I'm going to go ahead and slip in just real quickly how to go ahead and put in the new links, right? Because we're going to need to adjust this. If we were to zoom out and kind of show side by side just how long each of these collars is, it's going to be pretty evident that one of these things doesn't belong. When we go ahead and stretch them out, you can see the difference here between, well, I don't even know that I can get both of them in the same shot like this, but you can see the difference even if I slide these down to where it doesn't look like the the prong collar is running off at an angle to look longer or something. Even if I do that, you can see where it's just a huge difference in length. So I'll have to probably put in another 4 or 5 links at least to make sure that the dog's got the same amount of room. Right now, as I've stated, this collar right here is already getting a little bit tight, so about time for new length there. And honestly, the prong collar, I've taken a little bit of flack from folks here and there. It works for me when I'm adding links in and I'm constantly training and doing whatever. This option just wasn't available when I originally was doing this. And again, this one I actually had to have ordered from Germany. But even myself, I would prefer to have something like this, and it'll still meet my standards for stainless steel and non-absorbent and what have you. So that'll be perfect, I think. And we'll have that going. So it'll be the best of both worlds, because even I don't like to have the prong collar on him all the time. He doesn't seem to mind it at all. Neither of my dogs did. But nonetheless, it'll be great. And honestly, he might have a little bit of a friendlier appearance around town when he's walking around with just this nice little bracelet type thing versus the scary prong collar. And he's always going to look big and scary and mean, but maybe he won't have to look quite as big and scary and mean with this. Okay, so I've already gotten the links in that I need. Again, as you can see, I'll go ahead and pan left to right here. I used all but 2 of my new links, and it worked out really well, I think. Honestly, what I did to go ahead and open it up, this was about the easiest thing I've ever done. Just a screwdriver in there, and it bends them right open. Absolutely no problem. Again, it's stainless, so it's not like I'm using the world's strongest metal or anything, right? But sorry for being all in your way. The one thing I will say, though, is that what I want to do, and I know that this is totally unnecessary, this is a little bit of vanity and perfectionist nature on my part, but you can see the middle link that they've got here. It says Sprenger on it or whatever, and now that I have changed the length of it, rather than being in this for the middle, that's quite a bit off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull this one out. And again, just to give you an example, the new links do come already open, so it's really quite easy to form those together. And it is one where now, with these open like this, I mean, it's super easy to go ahead and have this come off. It does have to bend back a ways, the way that they formed the hook shape there. It does have to come back a ways. It's not just going to slide right up and over like this. But if you've got your collar loose enough to where the dog can even buckle it a little bit there, if you will, you can go ahead and come apart. So you do have to make sure that even though you pop it up with a screwdriver, that you do need to go ahead and bend it back. And I'll give it a quick test. I haven't tried this yet, but I might be able to bend these back. But I'll tell you what, if I could, it'd be one of them only, because I'm not going to sit here all night pinching and squeezing to try and prove that I've got the manpower when I can go ahead and grab a pair of pliers and be done and move on with my life. So I'll go ahead, I'll adjust this, move back to the middle. I will go ahead, close them all up with a pair of pliers. I don't even need to show that. Frankly, if you don't have that capability, you probably shouldn't own anything, let alone a dog or a tool, because that would be a disaster. And then from there, I'll show you what it looks like assembled and on the animal. Okay, to wrap this up, you can see I did use a pretty good sized flathead screwdriver out of my junk drawer. And then to bend them back, this is all I use, this tiny little pair of pliers that I actually use mainly from electronics projects and things like that. This with a little bit of a He-Man pinch grip with no problem set all the links back right. I guess you could kind of view on here, maybe I'll try and bring it up and hopefully it remains in focus. Not a huge difference between the open links right here and the closed links. It's really just enough. And I did go ahead and you can check and see that there's just no way that without some serious force and absolutely 100% trying that these things are going to come loose from the collar and have it come apart. This is pretty much the perfect size for my dog right here, leaving 2 links left, so thank goodness I decided to get more than I would ever need, because as with most things in life, go for whatever you think that you could ever possibly need and a little bit more, and you'll have just enough. So that's great. Happy to have it. I'm going to go ahead and show a shot of this thing on the dog if I can get him to sit still for a little bit. Honestly, I think it looks pretty good, and when we show the dog, you'll probably be able to see a little bit of the problem where, especially with this dog, even more than my last dog, the neck is so much wider where it meets his skull versus as it goes down even, that it's just impossible to get a really great fit on a prong collar like this and have it up high where you're supposed to have it even for training purposes. And obviously it's another problem too where the loose wrinkles and folds and things will fold in between the prongs. This one will do great. I think it's going to be good. I'm really happy so far with the purchase, even though I've only tried it on the dog. And well, I guess the last thing to do is going to be show you where he's at in it. You have a look, and it'll be great. So we'll show that and be right back. No. Tell him to sit. Good. Stay. All right. Well, here we are once again with the dog. That he's so dark it makes it hard to see in here. Same amount of light that we had before. No. Tell him to sit. Stay. Good. All right, here we are again with the dog that always makes it hard to see what's going on here. But nonetheless, kind of try and give you an idea. Here it is. I like to have a little bit more room with the Neapolitans like this. No, sit. Than what is normally given on a lot of dogs, or what I guess a lot of people give to their dogs as far as room, for the simple fact that with the wrinkles and things, in my opinion, they need a little bit more room up here to breathe and move around and not get all gross. So I do give them just a tad bit more room. Nope, sit, good. So we do that, but again, it looks good. I can go ahead and easily disconnect it here. I've got plenty of room should I need to pop them, and that's pretty good. He already seems to be happy with his new collar, and a happy dog is, well, a droopy looking dog. But either way, really happy with this. I'm glad that I went with this particular collar. In the future, I would definitely consider going to the neck tech type collar with the prongs if I ever need to get another collar. I'm assuming that the other one that I've got that's stainless will be lost before it ever needs to be replaced. But should something, by some crazy event, happen to it, I'll go ahead and replace that one with another one like this. Again, in the link down below, please do find the model number for this particular collar so that you can find a martingale type collar if you want one, and then also you'll be able to notice that I've got the link for the model number for the links. Those are pretty easy to find. That's not as hard as trying to find the martingale collar in the States, but either way, very happy, and the dog's already just moping away down there, so that's a good sign. All right, until next time.